Shit. What's up, guys? Yeah, I went to do some work on my books, and I saw one of the invoices for a client that got done like a month ago was still showing partial. So I went through my transactions because I don't stay on top of it, and I found the transaction. It was categorized as uncategorized income, which was the payment that would have closed out that invoice. And I tried to recategorize it. There was no option to it. The only option I had was to delete it. So, I went into VS Code and I edited it so that you could undo that transaction just like in QuickBooks. And then I went back to pending for review transactions and I recategorized it. I matched it to the client and then I went back to invoices and it was still showing partial. I don't know what that is, but it was a huge fucking problem, dude. So, I talked to my development team here. Um, yeah, so I don't know. It gave me this huge explanation. I was like, look, man, I don't want to hear all that. Like, just fix it, you know? So anyways, that's what it's doing right now. It's actually been running for the past 10 minutes. But it's doing good though. Like it's doing right. Like I can understand most of what it's doing, what it's saying, and I can tell that it's definitely doing a lot better than its previous version because man, the last codex that I was working with, this guy, I told it to make some changes and it like did the most minimal work that it could possibly do. Like I said, hey, listen, because like originally the name of the app was Bitflow Invoicing, right? So I changed it, so now it's Beyond Books. But in the code base, it's still set. There's Bitflow. There's mentions of Bitflow all over the place. So I told it. I said, hey, listen, I need you to take anywhere that says Bitflow and remove it and change it to Beyond, and anywhere that says Bitflow Invoicing, change it to Beyond Books. So this guy goes out there, he works for like 5, 10 minutes, and then he comes back. He's like, okay, I changed it so the system now also accepts Beyond Books as well as Bitflow invoicing. And I was like, what the fuck is that, dude? Like, that's not what I asked. I asked you to replace it. But instead, you just went and did the most minimal effort work that you could possibly do. And not only did you just make a mess of my code space, but you just wasted my tokens, wasted my money on doing something that I didn't ask you to do, you know? So that, after some very harsh words, I ended that conversation. And then, I used my other guy over here. You guys can't see him. He's not on the screen, but it's Codex Desktop app. Great fucking tool, man. Um, if you feel comfortable allowing it full access to your entire system, it is fucking amazing. I would not just recommend it to anybody. Like you need to know like how to set it up. You need to know what to give it access to and how to prompt it, and you gotta watch what it's doing as it's doing it. And be able to like push stop immediately if you see it doing something weird. Um, but it's fucking great, dude. Anyway, so I went and I talked to that homie, and I told it about the problem I'm having with its homie on VS Code because they're both codecs, and so basically we're gonna call him home base codecs. So the home base codecs that lives in my computer basically went into the back end file of VS Code and changed a bunch of stuff, and then we changed the config file, we changed some prompts, we changed the agents.md file, and now we have this guy here, which is doing great. So we basically gave it um, instructions on how to operate and how to work. Let's see. So, invoice, blah, 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 is fixed on the live system and now shows paid in full. What changed? I traced the actual issue in production. The February customer payments were sitting in banking, but they were not fully linked as invoice payments, so the invoice stayed partial. I repaired the live data for that invoice. It now has these payment records attached. That's true. That is true. I verified the invoice is now status paid, total 5,950, amount paid 5,950, balance to 0. What was removed? Nothing was removed. What was wired or refactored? Deployed the I deployed the backend fix in banking.py to production. New behavior: when you review a money in transaction, choose a client and there is exactly one open invoice. Choose a client and there is exactly one open invoice for that client with the exact remaining balance. The backend now auto links that invoice on add instead of leaving it as just AR category only. Alright, okay, okay. The live API was restarted and is healthy. What I found, the transaction you recategorized was not enough by itself because it had not created the actual invoice payment link, which was a problem. It should have. The real missing payments that completed this invoice were, okay, good. The stronger next step is to add an explicit invoice picker default match UX in the transaction screen, so this behaves visibly like in QuickBooks instead of relying on a backend inference. The emergency fix is live now, but the UI should make the match obvious. I like that. I like that a lot. So I'm just going to tell it to go ahead and proceed. I love it when AI works the way it's supposed to work. It is just such a fucking beautiful thing. All right. We'll be back.